This is the Business of Apps podcast, bringing you actionable insights from the leaders of the global app industry and the world's fastest growing apps. You can find more app news, data and analysis over at businessofapps.com.
Welcome to the Business of Apps podcast. On this show, we invite app industry professionals to cover various topics. We promise to do our best to keep it both insightful but brief. In this episode, we have Clarize Marais, Head of Marketing at Flow Lab. Clarize, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Art. Happy to be here.
Great, terrific. Thank you for coming. All right. Have you ever had this feeling when you're working on something, you're focused on relevant information only? You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing the next moment. This feeling may last minutes, hopefully more. This can be the moment you're building a marketing plan for your app, or writing an ad to promote your app, or dig deep in numbers for your current user acquisition campaign. It doesn't matter. What matters is these moments are rare and precious. This is when a breakthrough moment may happen with your app project, and you can finally nail a problem down. You might think that to achieve something, you need to be able to put your thoughts together. It feels like that, right? In fact, it is how to be able to shut down everything that is not relevant to what you're doing right now. That is the key. Do you think there's an app that could help with that? That can help you with that? To have such moments? Have them more? Well, there is. It's called Flow Lab, and Clarize is here to tell us about the app and the story behind its 15x growth and gaining 5,000 plus paying customers. What else you can ask for, right? But before doing that, let's talk about you, Clarize. First, tell us about yourself. Tell us your story. What is your background in marketing?
Well, I'm originally South African, but as luck would have it, I started my marketing career in Düsseldorf, Germany, of all places. I had the opportunity to work as an international brand marketing associate at Trivago, which at that stage was a hotel meta search, but I believe since then they've expanded into other travel products. It was a great first entry into marketing by learning how to have a true data-driven approach to everything, even offline marketing. And of course, it was also very fun and international atmosphere, and I fell in love with startup culture there at Trivago. After that, I decided to move from Düsseldorf to Berlin and joined DCMN, which is a performance and growth marketing agency for startups and digital businesses. There, I had the opportunity to move into digital marketing and also get exposure to many different verticals and business models. So also, of course, had an amazing time there, had a great team, but after working there for over 4 years, I gained quite a lot of experience with different marketing channels and advised a wide range of businesses. So this year, I jumped at the opportunity to join Flow Lab as their head of marketing and finally tackle a true startup from the ground up.
Terrific. I've been to Düsseldorf once. It was a great walk along the river. I do vividly remember that moment. I guess that's one of the reasons why people love that city that much. Do you have a chance to go to Düsseldorf often these days? I mean, before COVID.
Unfortunately, since moving to Berlin, I've only been back there once, and it was really great to go back to the Altstadt. I don't know, you probably also went there when you visited. It's the city where everyone would meet and have drinks, and it is a really nice, energetic part of the city. But other than that, I think Berlin is quite a difficult place to leave. Once you're in it, there's just so much to do here all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. All right. Now, what is Flow Lab? How does it work? How did the idea to create the app come about?
Well, at its core, Flow Lab is a mental fitness app that helps ambitious people become more focused and productive through personalized guided meditations that are aimed to develop flow states. It combines personalization, measurability, meditation sessions, and it's rooted in positive neuroplasticity training and flow science. So it's kind of an holistic approach that eventually trains users to develop peak mental performance. The idea,
Go ahead, please.
The idea came about when Jonas, the Flow Lab ideator, co-founder, and CEO, he created actually the Institute of Ludology, which is applied game science, and conducted studies on the environmental and individual psychological conditions for the occurrence of flow states in games. And then he wanted to take this knowledge and develop a mental coaching concept that was designed to facilitate productivity and flow in the modern workplace. And that is what he integrates now with the vision to make the science behind peak performance accessible for everyone through the Flow Lab app.
Great. I do want to confess, I want to applaud you guys for finally bringing psychology to the mobile industry in a good way to help people be more productive, to combat the stress they're dealing with and achieving the goals that they're aiming for. The app industry is, I don't see enough of, psychology being applied to creating apps and being, more thoughtful about how people are interacting with apps and making sure that the negative side is not hitting them. Because if you're optimistic, if you're only aiming for a great, outcome, and ultimately, chances are you may end up with something like Facebook. You know what I mean? Anyway, so when you're planning to build the app, did you have a vision for how to tell the story of the app to its potential users? Because every time you get to hear about a new app and a new app success, like the most vivid part of that app is the story that has been told. Like I'm not saying this story being told about the calculator app or a notes app, but something that is helping people to be productive, to travel, to grow their horizons with great content like books, podcasts, etc. So, did you have this story to tell about the app when you were thinking about the app marketing for the app?
Yes, definitely. As you can imagine, from the beginning, it was very important to distinguish Flow Lab from other big players like Calm and Headspace, who are more geared towards the mental health part of the industry, and to make it really clear that it's a completely different type of meditation app focusing on mental fitness and not mental health. So we aim to educate people that it's not only important to train the body, but also to train the mind. So even if you don't suffer from depression or anxiety, even if you are an ambitious, high-performing person, it is still possible for you to develop yourself and to use this positive neuroplasticity training to improve. And myself, I don't know about you, but before I came across Flow Lab, I also was not aware that it's possible to train your mind over time to become more focused and productive through meditation. And I loved meditation before joining the company, but I never really thought of it as a way to work on mental fitness in that sense. So that was a pretty cool thing when I learned.
That's a great insight. You may not realize you have a problem before you start using the app. Because this is usually the story with something that relates to your mental health. You don't realize you have it unless there is something that may give you a hint and actually show you that there is a way to improve. I know when you have a problem with your stomach, or you get something on your skin that's obvious to you, but with your mental health, you may not realize that there's something you can fix and actually help you to be more productive, more relaxed, being always in a good, not reactive, being prepared to stress and endure stress better. I to be honest, I started using Fitness Plus meditations 3 months ago. because I was using Fitness Plus, there were exercises before that moment, like starting this spring, and meditation was kind of a continuation of using that service because they launched meditation sessions, and I decided why not give it a try, 5 minutes a day. And I got to tell you that it does help me to be more focused on my work, even though it was not intentional. It's just your work here. It's just a continuation of your life. You're not going to the ultimate meditation state when you're working. It's still you. You're still doing mental exercise. It just happens to be focused on your work, making for a living. And yeah, I would totally agree that mental health meditation, and it's crucial to be able to, like I said at the beginning, to focus on what you're doing and get rid of distraction.
Definitely. And that's also something that I love about Flow Lab, is that it uses the combination of personalization. So essentially, it assesses your psychological profile in the beginning, and then it creates a training plan for you where it serves you the meditations that help you improve on your weakest mental areas. So that's something that also sets it apart, I would say, from other meditation apps out there who maybe have a bit more of a catch-all approach, or maybe is more of a library where you would go in and find meditations yourself. Flow Lab is more of a mental fitness coach in that sense. And to create routine is also amazing through the measurability of it, where you can also assess your performance, how you improve over time. It also is asking you 3 short questions every time you enter the app to assess if you improved this week on your focus. Maybe you were a bit more stressed this week than last week, and then it knows which meditations would help you get back on track. So that's also something that I really enjoy about it that I didn't find from other apps before I joined Flow Lab.
So you're using AI essentially to personalize an app for every user, right, to his own profile.
Exactly. Yeah, we truly believe that the whole mental fitness space could benefit from AI in a sense that it has not yet. But of course, this is also happening over time. I think many others would adopt this approach. But of course, I think in general, if we are able to just slightly switch it to be more personalized for the user, the routine and the habit forming techniques would be facilitated by this.
Great. Now let's switch into the market size. What about marketing channels you've been using so far? Which ones are really helping you to connect the app with the users you're looking for?
Yeah, so we are in our infancy stage right now. So as you can imagine, like most apps, we did invest the vast majority of our marketing budget this year. I would say upwards of 90% into Facebook ads. And we saw the best success, of course, on Instagram. So we had fortune this year where one of our Instagram ads went viral, and that was kind of the springboard that allowed us to grow at the end 15x now by the end of this year, because we were able to identify this very simple text format that had a very powerful message. Essentially, it just read, your performance is not other people. And then it would list a bunch of things that essentially we impose on ourselves on a daily basis that causes us to not achieve our full potential. So it's kind of a bit of a challenging message that we put out there, and it was shared widely, and we were able to create a hypothesis-driven formulation from that and replicate it in other ads throughout the rest of the year. So that was kind of course, good fortune in our case, but also it showed us what our community likes to see, what kind of content triggers people in a positive sense. So not just negatively. Of course, some people would feel a bit attacked by messaging like this, but a lot of them felt empowered. They felt that it spoke to them in an honest, sincere way that many other ads don't, right? Because it was really speaking to their true weaknesses and weaknesses we all have as people. So yeah, Instagram was the main catapult for us, but of course we tested TikTok, Google UAC, but unfortunately with the launch of Scan, we weren't able really to see many postbacks coming in from those campaigns. So we could not truly assess the performance. So I hope next year, when we're able to launch again and test new channels again, that we can test it again in order to see the true potential of these channels for us, because of course everyone needs to diversify eventually. Instagram will be saturated for us soon, I think. So that's something to look forward to next year.
I got to tell you, 5,000 clients at the beginning, that's a nice start. I do want to ask you, obviously you're aiming to get a viral effect, because the app is like I said, when the application has something to do with actually helping people to improve their life one way or the other, even I don't know, traveling, leisure, entertainment, work, education, it has the potential to become viral because it brings real value to people's life, and it's, in a big way, not like I said, like a calculator or a notes app. So what was your experimentation with TikTok? Did you try to do something creative, or trying to see if you can trying to adopt the Facebook ads to TikTok?
So we definitely tried a combination of both. I think as all app marketers testing TikTok for the first time, we are very tempted to use our winning Instagram as story ads as creatives on TikTok for the beginning. But we also created organic TikTok content. We launch new TikTok videos multiple times a week now to also just, of course, try and build an organic community there. And then it's very easy to use them then as Spark ads also in the TikTok Ads Manager. The issue was for us that we could truly not see installs or events coming in from TikTok through our campaigns because of the whole scan issue. And unfortunately, when we did test it, it was at the beginning stages of the rollout. So our MMP and TikTok, and I think just in general, the whole understanding of how postbacks work and how we had to put a certain amount of budget behind in order to see any kind of performance numbers was, not really possible at that stage. So I think now that it's developed a bit more, and next year we can also put a bit more budget behind it. Of course, it's not in our nature to have very expensive tests, but in the new world of app marketing, I think it does require a bit more budget to back your experiments these days.
Yeah, of course, it's unfortunate that you couldn't track the downloads to a TikTok campaign because of Scam was just launched, but we well know that it's been developed, that they're not launched the system and hasn't touched it since. They're listening for the feedback, and I do hope that the next time you're starting your campaign early next year, you will be able to finally be able to track down multiple channels and see how the user acquisition campaign is going on multiple frontiers, even with Scan Network obviously being in place, because people are switching on iOS 15 pretty quickly. Speaking of analytics, what has been instrumental for you guys to, apart from Scan Network, what you were using to track the connection between your user acquisition campaigns and getting actual users?
Yes, so Revenue Cat has truly been our source of truth through the whole ATT apocalypse. Since we weren't truly able to assess performance on a campaign level or ad level as we used to, we just pulled trial data, subscriptions, revenue data, all of that from Revenue Cat, and we did a blended analysis. I think that was kind of also the strategy of most app marketing companies this year, is to just see if we pull a lever here, what does the blended data do? And yeah, that has really been, I would say, a big help for us throughout this, to just be able to have some sort of data-driven approach behind our marketing this year.
Gotcha. Do you communicate with app users? Because I gather when you have an app that connected with people's lives, you must be able to get the feedback and see what people are saying, how it's actually helping them on a daily basis. What has been the feedback so far?
Yeah, of course, we ask feedback from our users via email from existing ones, but also from ones who don't end up converting or who cancel their subscriptions. Mm-hmm. And the majority actually say that the voice of the guided meditation sounds maybe a bit too American for them or a bit too sensual. We've also gotten the feedback that it sounds a bit romantic, the guy's voice. And of course, we're still a young startup, so we would eventually diversify the voices that are available in the app. We would also, of course, like to include a female voice later on, and perhaps also a British voice, because a lot of the British users or non-American users don't really like the American accent, which is fair, I guess. But yeah, that's quite interesting that people would like to really pick and choose the voices they hear.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why Siri has multiple voices. And for whatever reason, I perceive the original Siri voice like a student. And the second female voice, which you can hear right now, sounds like a couch, like a woman in her 40s. So this is kind of a psychological profile of a voice from your device. But well, we know the Siri doesn't exist, but in your case, this is a real person on the other hand who creates this set of meditation sessions. And so far you're saying it's only English, right? In British and American version, no other languages so far, right?
Exactly. So we have an American voice, and the app is only in English right now. It actually started as a German app, a fun fact, because the founder, of course, is German, and he used to do it himself in the beginning. But since then, of course, that was MVP, and now only the English one is live.
All right, great. So switching gears a little bit, generally speaking, what do you think about the current state of affairs with how we interact with mobile devices? Do you say net negative or net positive? Meaning, when you're looking at what is the role, like how much time are we spending on mobile devices in our lives, and what are we doing with them? Like, do you see like the net negative, meaning the outcome, if you're putting together both positive and negative sides, like the negative are overweighting the positive side, or the other way around, and you see like, no, despite the negative effects, still do you believe that mobile devices are playing a positive role in our lives?
A very philosophical question.
Yeah.
I like it. I think we're currently at a crossroads, to be honest. The net positive or net negative outcome will be entirely determined on an individual level, where each person has to decide for themselves if they choose to use their device to be productive, to do meditation or to work on their well-being, or if they would like to scroll endlessly through TikTok and start fights with strangers on Twitter. So yeah, with regards to mobile devices specifically, I think people are currently learning how to use them responsibly in order to get the most out of them and to practice discipline with the devices and not harm their well-being. And the growth of the wellness app space in the last years actually proves that people are looking for ways to enhance their mental and physical well-being with their mobile devices, like FlowLab or Freeletics, for example. So yeah, people are also mitigating the mental health damage caused by social media apps, like I just mentioned, by limiting the time they spend on these platforms through using settings to kick them out after a few minutes. I know I have that enabled on my device. I don't know about you, Raj.
Me too. Absolutely.
15 minutes maximum for me on TikTok every day.
I'm not even tipping my toe into the TikTok universe. I'm not there at all. my Savor books on the Kindle app. And I find it really funny to see the encouraging messages on the Reading Day app saying, "You've been a strike for 40 weeks reading, keep reading more." My impression was, what? I'm reading a book. Give me a break. It's not a social media app. Please stop encouraging me at least here. Well, I would totally agree with you. It's the assessment of its net positive or net negative is entirely on on the personal level. It depends on who you're asking this question to. I'll just quickly quote a nice kind of a summarize what's going on with all of us right now. It's there is a great biologist, Edward O. Wilson, which says we built a civilization with, let's see if I can remember that, Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, because all three components are there. Our emotions still, as we used to have them thousands of years ago. Institutions are not catching up with technology, and technology really enable us to do a lot of things we're not really prepared for. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I do appreciate apps like yours, because it helps us to navigate this not easy territory.
The app industry is vast. To navigate this space, you need a directory to look up suppliers and partners, and you need to know who are the best. Visit our marketplace directory at businessofapps.com/marketplace/podcast. And now, back to the show.
Okay, we actually covered the major topic on the table, and there are just a few more questions that I get to ask every guest on this show, because I do want to do both, bring people insight in a specific area to cover a specific topic and let them know my guest a little bit better. So here we go. Question number one. What smartphone do you have now? And have you been switching between iOS to Android and back, or just staying one side all the time?
Well, currently I have a humble iPhone 8, I think, which is both my company phone and my personal phone. I really try not to place much value on brands or having the latest gadgets. So whenever I can, I would rather purchase something that's refurbished or rent a device. So I don't have to buy the latest shiny new thing. But that's just my personal tech minimalist wannabe lifestyle. And when I lived in South Africa, I actually had Android phones exclusively. But since I moved to Europe, I switched over to iOS because in my company, we always used to work on iPhones and Mac. But I don't really have a preference either or.
Got it. Do you remember what was your first mobile phone, pre-smartphone era, those days? Do you still remember what was the phone?
I remember, I think it was a Nokia 8210. That was the very tiny red one, right? I just remember a very small red phone that I always just used to use to play Snake and for nothing else.
Those memories will be living with us years to come. Now, back to reality, back to this day. Imagine you've left your smartphone at home for whatever reason. Is there any feature that it will be missing for you because of that?
I mean, I do leave my phone at home on purpose many times, just I can really take a distance from it and also switch off and be in the real world whenever I have the opportunity, which like everyone else in the last 2 years has not been abundant. But when I do, for example, commute somewhere or I go somewhere by myself, so I don't have anyone to speak to, I don't have my phone with me, I really do miss having some sort of entertainment or something educational to listen to. So probably Spotify. But for that, I would need my headphones and my phone. So I would not leave those at home if I'm by myself.
Right, got it. I think I know the answer on the next question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are there any technologies, could be both hardware, software, you're thinking about your iPhone, not the specific model, the iPhone you're having on your in your home, but just in general, what are you waiting for? What do you think would be great to have on your smartphone to make it, I don't want to say more efficient, but to be able to be more useful for you in your life?
This might not be a popular answer, but I would love to have some hard barriers being imposed on smartphone or screen use in general. So I know some countries are now making it impossible for employers to email or Slack employees in spare time. So I think some companies they don't have the possibility to open Slack on the weekend. It's technically not possible, and it would, I think, for the mental health of society, it would be amazing if smartphones after a certain hour of the day would just not function with regards to social networks or specific apps that are not essential for us. So, for example, nobody really needs to be able to go on TikTok or Instagram between the times of midnight and 5 a.m., for example. So if there would be some sort of feature that makes it possible for people to not even technically open it, a very hard barrier, I think that would be an interesting experiment to see how anxiety and stress levels might change.
Yeah, I think I can give you a good analogy of a smartphone and a fridge. No midnight snacks. No opening your fridge every 5 minutes to grab something from it. It's a great thing. It keeps you alive. It's helpful. Allows you to refuel your energy. But you're not supposed to be grabbing stuff from your fridge every few minutes or every 2 seconds. It's just a tool for your life, but that's it. No more than a tool. At least it should be. But yeah, we're definitely having a problem with overeating, so to speak. All right, that's that. What?
Yeah, self-control is a bit of an issue in today's society, unfortunately.
That's for sure. All right, that was my very last question, but actually there's just one more. How can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Sure. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Of course, you can find the FlowLab app in the App Store and Google Play Store. And if you have any feedback or feature recommendations, always happy to hear them. We're constantly looking on how to improve and develop the app further. So yeah, it was great speaking with you, Art. Thanks so much for having me.
Great. Thanks a lot for your time and coming on our podcast, Clarize. Thank you. Bye-bye. And that was Clarize Marais, Head of Marketing at FlowLab. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. We release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe. And you will be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Business of Apps podcast. For more, head on over to businessofapps.com.